I just finished reading The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I also started watching the show. Now, the show is great. I'm intrigued. It's giving summer, it's giving the vibes, it's problematic, but it's giving. Now, the book, I'm trying to understand why there was so much hype around the book, because literally when I tell you I was so bored, I was reading that book so fast just so I could get through it because I wanted it to be over. I just felt like in the book the characters were so just like one dimensional. There was like no depth or like explanation. Like the characters weren't really like fleshed out. They were just kind of like there, just giving a little bit of whatever they were giving. And I really don't enjoy when like there's that whole like, oh, she's a girl and she's always getting picked on by the boys, and like that's cute and funny and that's just how boys are. I'm like, no, that's not just how boys are. And I don't enjoy those type of like tropes or dialogues or shows or movies, because I'm just like, that's just like triggering and that's just like really problematic, because I'm just like, they were just constantly picking on her. And maybe I think in a way she enjoyed it because she was just getting attention, but even that's bad because it's like the only time they're giving her attention is when they're picking on her or throwing her in the pool. Like when she talks about in the book how she gets thrown in the pool, and in that first episode literally she gets thrown in the pool, I was like, you guys think this is funny, hee hee ha ha? Like I would be so pissed. Like that wouldn't even be a smile wouldn't even come from my face. Like you wouldn't even see me the rest of that day because I would literally want to get away from all of you for just throwing me in the pool. But that's me. But I see a lot of people are kind of feeling the same way about just like the whole dynamics of how problematic that is. And let's just go to another thing that is just so problematic is the fact that these are brothers. These are brothers. These are brothers. These are brothers. Like I'm literally watching this and I'm reading this and I'm just like, wait. These are brothers. Like you're having a love triangle with brothers. Like it almost is incestual. It's strange. It's weird. It's problematic on so many different levels, and it's unhealthy on so many different levels. I'm like, girl, you can't go from one brother to the next. No, like maybe I could get it, because at first I was like, okay, maybe she's just like a little kid, and she just has this childhood crush, because sometimes you have a childhood crush and then you grow up and you're like, oh, it didn't really mean anything, I was just a little kid just enthralled by the way this person looked or treated me or acted. And that's another thing, I'm like, what are you so enthralled by? What's so intriguing about this person? He's literally like, Conrad is literally in the book and even in the show, but in the book it's almost worse. I'm like, he's literally so like, he's so emotionally available, he's so avoidant, he's so just cold and just lame, and just, I get he's going through a lot of stuff, but like, okay, dude, come on, like your attitude. I'm like, what's appealing and intriguing about this character? But I also understand that like when you're younger, sometimes you are attracted to like emotionally avoidant guys because they seem like mysterious, and you kind of like want to, like, you want to get that out of him. I don't know what it is sometimes with women, but I think a lot of times, well, really girls, I don't I think it's trauma. I can say just from experience, it's definitely trauma why you would be attracted to a guy who's literally emotionally unavailable, who's giving you nothing when all you want is everything from him. Like, she's literally wishing for him birthday after birthday. She's like, every shooting star, every candle. I'm like, and you think this is sweet? This is sad. You shouldn't be so desperate for someone. And it's just weird on so many levels. But yes, am I still watching it? Yes. Am I still enjoying it? Yes. So maybe I am part of the problem, but the problem has already been created. It's just wrong on so many levels, and I get it. It's entertaining. So, we're still watching it. I'm still watching it, but I'm just also like, this is weird. This is really, really weird. And I just don't see how, like, this is okay. It's just not okay. And then Jeremiah, like from the first moment, like when you start watching the show, like the book, you kind of felt it but from the show immediately, I'm like, oh girl, he's in love with you. The way he looks at you, the way he is around you, I'm like, he's in love with you. And he's not only is he just in love with you, and this goes to part of the point that I was making, is just like that toxic kind of thing that you can sometimes be drawn to. But he he likes her in a way that's genuine and real. And like, I'm like, no, this is a guy who's like, you guys are young, but I'm like, this is a guy who could be your husband one day. This is a guy you could actually have a happy, healthy relationship with, because he actually likes you for you, and he's kind and he's happy and he's outgoing and he's funny and he's dorky in his own way, but they're also kids. So I'm like, girl, you're dorky as hell too. Like, Belly is, even her name being Belly, I'm just like no shade, no tea, but I'm just like, girl, your name's Belly. Like, are you 5? And that was part of my problem with the book, is that I just felt like she was 16 and her dialogue just sounded like she was 10. Like I'm like, I know, I mean, maybe you don't have that much depth to you when you're a teenager, I guess, but I just felt like she could have a bit more depth than she had in the book. I was just like, oh my God, girl, you're extremely boring. And another problem I had with the book was that it kept going from age 11, age 12, age 14, age 13, age 10. I'm like, girl, this is called The Summer I Turned Pretty. I want to talk about this summer. I don't want to talk about last summer. I don't want to talk about that summer. I don't want to talk the summer when you were 2. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about every memory and every experience that you've had in your life. I want to talk about this one right now that I'm experiencing right now. I'm supposed to be reading a story about the summer you turned pretty, not every other summer that led up to this one. And like in the book, it's like the last 20 pages are when it gets interesting. It is when something happens, then like Conrad comes, and I'm just like, you waited all of this time for him to do what? Pull up to your house during Christmas time? Girl. So, I'm not going to read the next books, but I am going to continue watching the show. Thank you so much. This show, I like it, and I just feel like I need to see what happens. And I feel like in the show, the characters are just a lot more like, there's just way more depth to them, and it seems more mature. Like, the characters they're still immature because they're kids, but they just seem a bit more mature. They have a bit more depth, a bit more just like, they're a bit more interesting. You get to visualize everything and see everything, which is always cool. And I like that. And, Conrad, I'm not seeing the appeal in the book or the show. Jeremiah, I'm seeing it because I'm just like, okay, girl, he's trying to give you the moon, the sun, and the stars, and he actually sees that you're worthy of the moon and the sun and the stars. And then here you are going after the brooding, introspective, internally focused, silent, weird type. Like, that's just not interesting to me at all. But let's just also go back to a key point of this. These are brothers. These are brothers. These are brothers. These are brothers. She has a love triangle with brothers. And I'm just like, when this book was written, when this show was created, did we think that maybe there was a problem with this? Now, at this current moment in time, I have not watched season 2 yet. I am still on season 1. But from what I can see already, she hooks up with both of them. And I just want you to sit with that. Both brothers, they both know. And I'm just like, this can't be real. And I'm just like, and to think that she was so just like inexperienced and hadn't even had her kiss. And let's talk about that. Let's just talk about that. In the show, right? She has her first kiss in front of them. That was so awkward. I was so uncomfortable on so many different levels. I was like, why on earth would you just kiss that boy like that in front of them? They're literally staring at you like this, waiting for you to get in the car so they can leave, and you're like, let me go ahead and kiss. I'm like, dude, and that was your first kiss? That was weird. And you just met this boy. I was like, this is weird. This is awkward. You're making me really uncomfortable right now, Belly. I'm really uncomfortable. So that's why I'm just like, this is the summer you turned into okay, you feel me? This is the summer you decided I'm going to experience my sexuality, which nothing wrong with that, especially at that age. You need to do that. You need to like experience who you are, boys and girls, but for girls it's like it's so important for them to just like do that, and sometimes we don't have the opportunity to freely explore sexuality in a safe way, especially at that age. A lot of things happen, but I just also felt like the brothers are not the people that you need to do these things with. Now, I don't know what's going to continue to happen in the rest of season 1 and season 2, or what happens in the books, because I'm not going to finish the books, as I said, but I will continue watching the show. Thank you so much. But I'm also just like, okay, she's gonna hook up, she's gonna lose that V card to one of them, and that's so problematic. You're going to potentially have sex with one of the brothers, and then you're going to break up with one of them, and then you're going to go hook up with another one, have sex with the other one, and then what are you going to marry one of them? Or even if you don't marry one of them, now you've just created this awful dynamic between the two of them, knowing that they were both in love with the same girl who liked them both and wanted to be with both of them, and one or the other doesn't treat them right, or she doesn't like one or the other, so she has to choose. And I'm just like, this is crazy. This is not something I would give to my niece to read. She's 14, and I would not recommend my niece to read this, because I would be like, no, this is not an example of something that you need to be doing. You do not need to be doing anything like this. Explore your sexuality, kiss boys, figure out what you like, but not in a messy dynamic such as that, and not in the way that she's doing it. But this is all for shits and giggles. It's not that serious. It's a show. It's a book. It's not real life. I'm sure somewhere in another dimension, though, this probably has happened. So for whoever that girl is out there who has committed a sin such as deep and awful as this, you are a messy bitch. You are a messy bitch who doesn't give a fuck about anyone but herself, which maybe in a way that's go queen, but for me it's also no queen. So, again, shits and giggles. It's all just commentary. I'm just saying my opinion, talking my shit, shooting the shit. And, yeah, as I said, I'm going to keep watching it. And if you've watched it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the book, of the show. Or do you enjoy the book? I didn't enjoy the book, as I've said. Do you love the show? Who are you rooting for? That's another thing. Who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for Cam? Are you rooting for Conrad? Are you rooting for Jeremiah? Is there another boy in the mix? Is there another girl? Who knows? Who knows what's coming? Who knows? I am Team Jeremiah, because he's just the type of boy, like, it's just, Conrad and Jeremiah are the perfect examples of like so many things that girls go through, like the bad boy who's not going to treat you right, but he's mysterious and intriguing, and you want to change him, you want to help him, you see his potential, so you want to change him, and you want him to, in a way, if you change him, you become his everything, and that's awful. But then you have, on the other hand, the great guy who is obsessed with you and love you, wants to spend his time with you, wants to give you everything, will give you flowers every day, but you're not sure if you like him because you just see him as a friend. Which, I mean, sometimes you can't help the way that you feel, but also we need to examine sometimes why we feel the way that we feel. So what do you think? Who are you? Who do you like? What do you think? And yeah, that's all for now, folks. Thank you for watching.